Hello, welcome to Learning to Code Part 3 Addendum. Basically, I felt like I should go more into types. As I look through the video, it's just like, it needs to go a little bit more into detail about why types matter and what they do. So this is mostly just gonna help us go, help catch you up. I guess not catch you up because we haven't gone that far, but basically, kind of more make the knowledge more solid in your mind. So C Sharp is a strongly typed language. All that means is that every variable has its own properties and methods. A property is what a variable is. For example, let's say I have a variable that is a type that's type is a person. A person can have an age, a height, and a skin color. All of these things that I've just said is what a person is. A method is what a variable can do. For example, a method is what variable. I mispronounced it. A variable can do blah. So let's say my variable once again is a type of a person. A person can run, do taxes, and play basketball. These are things that they can do. As you can see, typing is very important because let's say I change the type to say a dog. A dog cannot do taxes. A dog cannot play basketball. However, and also, those are things they cannot do. Also, a dog doesn't have a skin color. They do have a fur color, but they don't have skin color. However, dogs can smell from far away. They can track. They can fetch. They have dog years, which, so they have years and dog years. So their actual time they've been here and the actual exact amount that they match to people's ages, which people won't have. People don't have dog years. We just have years. Now, as you go down, you see the bullet points. You can see some of these bullet points that explain important information about what's important information about a variable. And, I'm gonna explain a few of them because the other ones that I don't explain don't really matter. So the first one is the storage space that a variable of the type requires. All that means is how much space that variable takes in memory. Another way of, because your program has to have a place to store this information that it's using. A way of thinking about it is if I have a variable that is a type of a cat, it will take up less space than if its type was a horse. The next one you have to look at that's important is the maximum and minimum values that it can represent. For example, a box, if I have a variable that has the type of a box dozen of donuts, it can hold 0 to 12 donuts, but it cannot hold -1 donuts or 13 donuts because it is, it's in the name. Its type is a box dozen. It's a box that can hold a dozen donuts. Thus, it cannot have less than 0 or more than 12. And then the next one, when we've kind of gone through it beforehand, the kind of operations that are permitted. And we've talked about it a little bit before. A dog cannot play basketball, nor can they drive. A person can play basketball, and a person can drive. Or another way of seeing it is multiplication. As we saw before, we can perform mathematical operation on integers, but we cannot perform them on booleans. For example, 2 times 4 is 8. That works because 2 and 4 are integers. However, true times true doesn't make any sense because, well, how do you multiply true and true? It's illogical. It's like asking a person, what do you do with a fifth leg? Or the average person. The average person doesn't even have 3 legs, let alone 5 legs. And so that's not really an operation that you can ask them to do anything with. Let me change that. It's like asking a person to walk with 5 legs by themselves. It's not something people can do. People can walk with 1 leg, they can walk with 2 legs, they can walk with 0 legs, kind of move like a snake or a snail, but they can never like walk with 5 legs because they are physically incapable of it. It is an illogical thing to ask them to do. And if you look at them, The little code they show you below, they show you, how integer equals 5, b equals a plus 2. We can already know a, they're both integers. That means b is equal to 7. Bool test equals true. Int c is equal to a plus test, or 5 plus true. Obviously, that's completely illogical. It doesn't make any sense. It's basically like saying it's basically nonsense. It's a nonsensical question. You might as well be asking, you know, what is a question? It does there you cannot do that. They do not have the necessary things in common to be able to work together like that. Now, as you can see, all these things I've spoken about, now there are things I've spoken of that you see on the bullet points that's stored in the variable. We're not talking about them today. Like I said before, we will speak about them in later lessons. The most important thing you need to know and remember is that a strongly typed language is important. Let me say my word. For a strongly typed language, it's important for the types to be correct. Because if they aren't correct, you will not be able to write your program in a fashion that will allow it to accomplish its goals. For example, if you want a program to say do taxes and you use booleans, well, you're going to have a hard time doing percentages. You're going to have you're going to have a hard time doing percentages. You're going to have a hard time doing multiplication, subtraction, division, and you're going to have a hard time just storing the values, because there's no way to make true. There's no way to make sense of true to be equal to, say, whatever amount of income you have. Like I say, you have $100 and you stored in a Boolean. And so it says, okay, your Boolean money income is equal to true. You can't take 50% of true, 12% of true, 2% of true. You can't subtract 960 from true. You can't do that. And so this is why we have types. This is why they're important. These are all these things that they do. I hope this was very informative, and like, comment, tell me how to make this better. If it's actually, how to make this better. If it's any good, let me know. Have a great day.